Wednesday, February 20th. It is, according to my watch, 5:03 p.m. I would like to open Neighborhood and Business Development Year 45 Action Plan. Public meeting is now open. Just in summary, before we receive public comment in the order in which it was submitted, hopefully you all received not just the full action plan, but there's a summary document floating around that talks about what funds we estimate available for this year and the different programs and services that we are recommending for investment. This action plan represents the 5th year of a 5-year consolidated plan that was produced and submitted to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development back in 2015. And in this 5th year action plan, these dollars represent investments that will start May 1st, 2019 through April 30, 2020. With approximately $6.8 million in available resources through the proposed draft block grant allocations, these represent investments into 43 programs and services that are designed to assist thousands of members of our community with assistance with maintaining, finding, and keeping affordable housing, with providing workforce development and community development human services, as well as physical investments in real estate and other housing projects. The full plan was produced and submitted on February 6th, and that's open for a 30-day public comment period. We're actually extending that period. The Common Council will be holding their public hearing on Wednesday, March 13th, I believe at 5:30 p.m., also in these chambers. As part of the review process, applications were due in the fall. Neighborhood and Business Development staff worked with 13 community volunteers, and they're listed in the plan, our Risk Analysis Committee, to review all the applications, to score them, and to develop funding recommendations that you see before you. While we believe that the estimates that are given in this report are in line with those investments that we've received from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for this fiscal year, we're still unsure of what our allocation will be. Thank you. This is our best estimate guess. You'll notice in all of our allocations, we list the percent of allocation for the funding so that if the numbers are plus or minus within 15%, that we're still able to allocate resources based on this framework. If we did receive either an increase or decrease greater than 15%, we would reopen the public process, present new allocations to the community, and have public input. Many of you may recall we had that two-pronged process last year. So tonight, I'll announce the order of our speakers. Please note that John, I'm so sorry, John, your last name? How could I forget? John Drury. This might be his 40th stenography of the Community Development Block Grant, Emergency Solutions Grant, Home Investment Partnership. So I think we owe John a round of applause. All public comment, both verbally, written in email form or in traditional form, will be included in the final plan that's submitted to HUD, including the stenography, the testimony from this evening and from the Common Council session. So with that, I'll announce the first two speakers, if you can come to the microphone. Kim Dubchak will be first from Covenant Housing, followed by John Tomino with In My Father's Kitchen.
Good evening. At first, I just wanted to say thank you to City NBD. In large part, because of your support, we're able to continue to develop affordable housing for people with special needs. Last year, we were able to continue to own and manage 40 affordable rental units, develop 3 new home ownership and rental projects, and complete 22 assistive technology projects. Also, in large part, due to your support, we're able to, over the next 2 years, leverage $600,000 in New York State home funds and increase our housing rehabilitation specialists to 30 hours a week, which I think will really add to productivity. So I know you guys have very hard decisions to make, and we appreciate being in the thought process. And on a slightly unrelated note, if I read the report correctly, it looks like there's some really big reductions in homeless populations. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the continuum of care, because I know what hard work that is for those agencies, and that's an exciting improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Next up will be John Tomino from In My Father's Kitchen, followed by Dr. Tanya Eastman.
Thanks, Commissioner. I just wanted to say thank you for taking us into consideration again for this year 45. I just wanted to give an update of the year 44 that we're in right now. As of today, we're up to 111 unduplicated individuals that we've met on the streets of Syracuse and Central New York. Out of those 111 people to date in last year 44, we have now connected 34 people into housing of those 111. And out of those 111, we've connected 73 different individuals to different agencies, whether it be DSS, doctor's appointments, rehabilitation centers, to other service providers into the community. But this, on the sad note, we lost 3 people last year that have passed away from homelessness. So it's, you know, it's the life and death scenario. I thank God that we have a great city and a great common council that believes in the work that we're doing as a coalition here in Central New York. And I just want to say thank you for considering us going forward in year 45. We're looking forward to doing greater and bigger things.
Thank you, John. Next up is Tanya Eastman, followed by Rich Pachalski.
Thank you, Commissioner. Wanted to just say thank you for being included this year in the plan. On Point for College has been supporting students, most vulnerable students in our community for almost 20 years now. And with your support, Career Services will be able to support 200 students as they continue to pursue their higher education and really focus on the career services side of professional preparation, in particular, the pre-professional experience of internships and job prep, and with the ultimate goal of them securing professional positions that lift them out of poverty. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tanya. Rich Pachalski, followed by Megan Carroll.
Rich Pachalski, Executive Director, Syracuse United Neighbors, SUN, neighborhood organization targeting the near West Side, South Side, South Avenue, Skunk City neighborhoods, including Brighton and parts of Elmwood. Been around 42 years, and I always come to these hearings with my empty wallet speech. It's legendary. SUN, unlike most of you, does not receive any funding from the Community Development Block Grant Program. And we speak the neighbors' thoughts and interest in the Southwest neighborhoods for 42 going on 43 years. So we don't get any funding from the federal government. And concerned, as we have in the past, about vacant houses. We're up, Commissioner, I think I'm told 1,700, according to Ken Towsley, Director of Codes. Land Bank, which got in business about 5 years ago as a non-for-profit, as of November 6, 2018, has control over 650 vacant houses and lots in our targeted neighborhoods on the South, South Avenue, Southwest, near West Side neighborhoods. It's a lot of vacant houses. They stand there and stand there. Not much gets done about them. We have complaints from neighbors about open to entry vacant houses and trash. The other day I was giving an SU student a tour. Got to go down Hoovy Street. You know, a lot of vacant houses down there along the creek. And you could see the tires just laying there. There's a real problem, and there's a lack of work being done to renovate these vacant houses and a lack of work being done to demolish. I was at the board meeting of the Land Bank on Tuesday. Like many times, one house sold. One. Out of those 650 vacant houses, only one sold. That's a shame, to an investor out of Rochester on Merriman Ave. One. And that's typical of the board meetings I go to on the third Tuesday. We have CDBG money, barely $5 million, not getting enough from our federal government to take care of the ills, the poverty, the highest poverty rates in the state of USA. So, I'm here to support, my good friend Kerry Quigley is not here, critical programs that we turn clients into home headquarters. Sharp. Rally the people to turn in applications. Compete with our friends on the north side. I think they call themselves NEDA. We need that $250,000 allocation for Sharp. People need minor repairs up to $1,250 to remove code violations. Urgent care has gotten a little bit more hectic. We need to see that allocation of $300,000. There's a lot of people that are experiencing sewer lines that are breaking down between the street and their house. You got a young lady on Midland Ave I'm working with. Hopefully she's going to get $8,000 or $9,000. Obviously some of that's loan, some of that's out of urgent care. You know, when people run into those experiences, it blows them away. First-time homeowners need the $300,000. Hopefully some of these homeowners out of home headquarters will pick up some of these vacant houses either through the land bank or through the AHC program that I'm working with dear friend Stephanie Pasquale on these 10 houses. That ain't many houses. I see one being worked on just down the corner from my office on Landon. We need to see more of that effort, Stephanie, and members of the Common Council who are again not here. I don't know if we got any people out there interested in the problems of housing in the Syracuse community, but it's really unfortunate. But we will rally the cry for better housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Next up, Megan Carroll, followed by Liz Page.
All right, well, I'm glad that I'm following Rich. I'm Megan Carroll. I'm the Commercial Investor Portfolio Manager at Home Headquarters. I do have a little bit to say. We get a pretty good allocation from CDBG, so I've got a couple points we wanted to reach. First, obviously we want to thank the city for their ongoing support through the Community Development Block Grant Program. The money is more than just what we get. We're able to leverage several different resources, match other things. So the money really does go a long way. We've been a longstanding partner of the city of Syracuse. First, I'm going to talk about the SHARP program that Rich mentioned. Last year, we had a goal of 119 SHARP cases to get through with the allocation. We were able to do 169. Part of that had to do just with working with the homeowners more closely. We did try to blend in some other resources from other places to make that money go as far as possible. It's $1,250. The homeowners get for urgent exterior repairs, a lot of code violations, so we really make that go as far as we can. So for the repairs that are larger, that's what we use our urgent care program for. So far, in the last program year, we've closed $767,000 of financing to help a total of 87 people so far, or 87 households so far, and we've got another 40 in the pipeline. That math works out to be about $9,000 per household. The actual average urgent care case is higher than that. We're able to blend some private money, some AHC, trying to get the homeowner the lowest possible payback they can, and have the most impact. going to go off on a tangent and talk about how much home improvement has increased over the years. When I started back in 2008, you could do a roof for $9,000 to $14,000. These days, you can't get one for under $15,000. We're seeing the sewer problems that Rich mentioned. Just everything is getting more expensive. So the urgent care program is really one of the last lines that homeowners have available in most cases. They have absolutely nowhere else to go. They have urgent, serious health and safety issues with their home. This is a critical program to help keep people in their home, keep the home safe, keep the properties from becoming abandoned, and help people just stay stable. And going back to Sharp, the majority of the participants there are below 50% of the area median income. So, you know, we're helping low-income people, and we're helping extremely low-income people. Then I'm going to move on to the closing cost assistance program. Our homeownership center so far has helped facilitate more than 178 first-time homebuyers here in the city of Syracuse in the past year. So the $3,000 we're able to give people towards their closing cost assistance is leveraged with at least $50,000 in private financing. In the last year, it's equated to $16 million in first mortgage financing in the area. Once somebody buys a house, it's not just the impact of that moment. They're going to be paying property taxes, their school taxes, real estate commissions, buying, you know, new things for their homes. So it's not just one thing. It drives a whole lot of economic development. And again, with the urgent care program, we're using local contractors. They're hiring mostly local people. They're buying their supplies here. So it's not just the impact to the homeowner. I think all of our programs are pretty, again, leveraged with other places. And I guess I just want to thank the city for their continued support, and we look forward to deploying the program year 45 funds.
Thank you, Megan. Next up is Liz Page, followed by Andrea Wandersee.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to represent Dunbar Association. I'm the treasurer. I'd like to thank the council folks as well as the staff of CDBG who worked very hard to help us put our programs together. Right now we're getting CDBG funds for our youth program so we can extend the hours, particularly when school is closed. We do have other grants that have come in, but that particular grant is very helpful to us to extend the after-school program for our youth. We are also like to ask or seek funding to expand our vulnerable senior program. We now have seniors meet 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'd like to ask consideration for $15,000 in that area to extend that program for 5 days a week. That program has grown exponentially, and the seniors do come for socialization and to help them stay healthier, actually, when you get out in the street and you see old friends and such. That additional funding that we would seek would help add that part-time person that would be 2 days a week, and also facilitate outreach. We have 2 people who are part-time now, but we still need, as our population grows, to have 2 people available to the seniors as they come in, as they are helped with Medicaid, Medicare, and other resources and services in the area. The full program we currently have is supported by Onondaga County of Aging, and that grant that we might be eligible for our vulnerable seniors would extend that program 2 more days in the week. You have, as CDBG, okay, slow down. CDBG funds over the last several years have made a significant dent in how we can manage our programs and invite more kids and families to participate in Dunbar. And for that, I'd like to thank you and your staff for helping us pull things together in an orderly fashion. So the only thing I can say is thank you and keep up the good work. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Liz. Next up is Andrea Wandersee, followed by Brian Ferranto.
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks so much for everything you do for us. I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that you and your staff gave me this fall as I entered into this new role at NEDA. It's an exciting time at NEDA. We're going through a lot of changes, staffing changes, structural changes, and programmatic changes. We appreciate CDBG's continuing support of our programs, especially as we refocus on housing counseling and improving access to home ownership for families on the north side, as well as our business and economic development efforts. Looking down the list, you know, at least a third, if not half of the agencies you support are critical partners for us, particularly Syracuse Northeast Community Center, Home Headquarters, the Volunteer Lawyers Group, Arise. Quite frankly, the list just goes on and on. So thanks for all your work, thanks for all your support, and I look forward to working with you guys this year.
Thanks, Andrea. Brian's up next, followed by Corey Dwan.
Good evening, and thank you. Thank you for enabling us to serve the many, many households we've been able to serve through our eviction and relocation programs. Of particular note is our new involvement with the Housing Stabilization Program at Clinton Plaza, which has yielded excellent results, and we look forward to continuing to be able to do that. Without the funds that we've received that we very much appreciate, we wouldn't be able to serve as many households as we have. So thank you.
Thanks, Brian. So Corey's up next, followed by Kiki White.
Hello. I'm Greg Dewan from the Hiscock Legal Aid Society. I'm the Deputy Executive Director, sorry.
I'm sorry.
You got my name wrong, I got my title wrong, just how it goes. Thank you. Just here to thank you for the award of the ESG funds. It really is a vital part of our funding and our practice and our services to our community. With that money, we are able to fund an eviction defense attorney who goes to Syracuse City Court every day to pick up tenants there for representation, to either get them more time, keep them from getting evicted, whatever they need to find stable housing. This attorney is also able to provide early intervention services if people contact us before ever having a court date. They keep cases out of court whenever possible. This attorney can also provide services after court, filing orders to show cause, or providing any other services that may be required once a tenant's already been to court. We're also proud to have recently instituted a tracking system through our social work team where they follow up with tenants who have been to court to ensure that their needs are being met, see if they have any other issues, can refer them back to our office for additional legal help, can refer them to community partners for social services, whatever else they may need. So this funding is a very vital part of our practice. It's something that we care deeply about, and we just wanted to thank you so much for the allotment and your continued support, and we really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Not Corey. Kiki will be followed by Michael Collins.
It is an honor to be able to speak here today. I am Mary White. My people know me as Kiki. I am the Director of Programs and Outreach for the Women's Opportunity Center. We are located at 901 James Street in Syracuse, New York, on the second floor. Our agency has been serving individuals in the central New York area for 34 years to help them become job ready and to meet the challenges of today's workforce. Over the years, we have served approximately 200 to 225, mostly women, per year, teaching them the computer and workforce skills they need to become economically self-sufficient. About half of our funding comes from the New York State contract, and the other half comes from various foundation, governmental, and corporate grants. We have been very lucky to have received a number of grants lately that has allowed us to create and implement new programming that is vital to individuals living in Syracuse and Onondaga County. During the funding request for year 43 of the CDBG, the WOC submitted a grant request and was funded. We were thrilled to have been included, and then in year 44, we were also included. The project that we implemented was called Journey to Success, or JTS for short. This program serves individuals receiving or in danger of receiving public assistance who are cycling on and off PA and really need and want to become economically thriving. This class helps to provide some life skills training, computer skills enhancement, and workshops to prepare individuals for the workforce. Our employment success rate for this program is approximately 65%, with around 20% going on to further educational services in Central New York area. Without this training, individuals would not be able to make the strides they need to become independent of PA system and start a new life in our area. Without the funding that is provided through CDBG, the WOC would not be able to continue this project to meet the needs of the fragile members of our community. Please accept this testimony and the information packet as part of our request for the CDBG funding. We thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Michael Collins is up next, followed by Sally Curran.
Hi, Michael Collins, Executive Director, Syracuse Northeast Community Center. First of all, thank you, Commissioner, and to your staff. You guys have a tremendous amount of work to do, and then with the delay in the HUD's release of the contract last year, I know that this work probably overlapped in a way that just put in a lot of extra hours for you guys, so we really appreciate all that work. I'm really excited about 2019 for the Northeast Community Center. We're probably going to serve about 4,000 people again this year. Around half that really supported directly by CDBG funding, and it's super important funding for us in a few different ways. The indirect, Andrea Wandersee had mentioned before, we partner with just such a significant number of other funded agencies that are able to do good work, in large part through the support of CDBG. Whether it's NEDA or the other community centers, they're just incredible partners for us, and they're able to do their work with the support. For us, I'm really excited about some new programming we've got going this year, but when we look at what the difference that CDBG makes in exactly what we're doing right now with our youth, with our seniors, with the families, I think that the best example that I can give you and how this money makes a really big difference is with one of our seniors, Michael, who came to us when his sister said, hey, you need to go check out the center. He was in a bad place as far as housing. He was in a bad place as far as food and having enough money to get by. Through his connection with us, he was able to get stabilized. He was able to become socially connected again, where he'd become socially isolated. This helped his health stabilize. We were able to get him affordable housing through Christopher Community. And then when our transportation person went to pick him up and check him out in his new house, realized that he didn't have any furniture. And so we were able to be able to get donations and help him be able to put that all together as well. He became stabilized in such a way where he was, through his health issues that were all compounded by his housing issues, that he's actually no longer with us this year because he just moved in with a sister who now felt that he was in a spot where he could, they could live well together, and that never was an opportunity for him before. He was on a downward slide, and he's in great shape right now. So one quick example of that, CDBG funding, and that's it. Appreciate the help. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Next up is Sally Curran, followed by Marwa. And Marwa, you're going to help me with your last name when you come up, right? Because I don't want Alubaidi? Alubaidi, all right.
Good evening, Commissioner. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you, staff, and all of the other folks here that we're so happy to be partnering with. We're here mainly to thank you for the allocation, for including us again this year. The year 43 supplemental funding, as you know, really expanded the work that we were able to do, as well as the year 44 funding to continue our eviction work. So, we were hoping to get a little bit more money so that we could continue doing the expanded work. We're working real hard to fill those gaps for year 44. Again, we do appreciate what you were able to provide us. In 2018, we defended 1,004 tenants in Syracuse City Court. 71% either avoided or delayed eviction, and 29% we were able to reduce the amount of money that they owed. And really the outcomes it's not even that. The outcomes are about avoiding eviction. I mean, about avoiding homelessness, and that's really what we're committed to do. Through this funding, we've also been able to really vastly expand the outreach and education that we're doing in the community. We've done a series of know your rights trainings and how to be a good tenant, how to advocate for yourself to try to help people avoid eviction, both at the Samaritan Center, and we've got a series going on at the Central Library right now as well. And probably the thing I'm most proud of from the Year 43 supplemental is the collaboration that your office set up with Syracuse Housing Authority. We approached that with the goal of reducing the overall evictions that were being filed, because there were around 1,000 being filed a year. And I'm happy to report that that was a tremendously successful collaboration, and only about 200 evictions were filed in 2018, so a tremendous drop-off in the number of evictions filed, and that was really because of the collaborative approach that was taken, and the sort of like insight that NBD had to pull SHA in as a partner rather than just as an adversarial party. So thank you for that, and we're happy to continue working with the office on any sort of other collaborative efforts that come up, and we're happy to continue collaborating with the rest of our partners here in the room. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Sally. Marwa?
Marwa Lubaydi, Interfaith Works, Center for New Refugees, the Reception and Placement Manager. So I would just want to thank you for the allocation for ESG and CDBG fund. And this grant is really critical for our refugees to keep their housing stable. And it's really important for them to start their self-sufficiency in Syracuse, New York. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are all the cards that I have. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Take your time, Sharon.
Sharon Sherman, Greater Syracuse Tenants Network. Apologize for being late, but our speaker couldn't get out of work at Helio Health, so I'm going to speak in behalf of our office. So we appreciate that we are in the CDBG budget this year. However, $25,000 is a lot less than what we got under the 8 years of the minor administration, where we averaged about $49,000. And the office is only functioning due to my ability to work as practically a volunteer. Our aim is to be able in the future to hire a full-time staff, and so we're looking to get back more into the neighborhood of where we were. We received $36,000 this year, which we appreciate. The amount of buildings that we're working with continues to increase. The issues that the tenants face are continuing. We are very supportive of the efforts of NBD to put Catholic Charities helping at Clinton Plaza on the individual basis. And it's increased the stability of the population in the building, which is always good. We would like to see that program increased and helping us at Parkside Commons, which we feel is one of the most troubled developments right now in the group of buildings that we work with. We continue to work very closely with many of the partners that are funded by the city. Right now on McCarthy Manor, we are working very closely with the Fair Housing Council. There's a lot of very serious issues there. Tenants facing discriminatory practices, which it's very hard to get people to come forward. And in addition, we've just drawn in the Westcott Community Center senior advisor to assist us in helping some of the tenants in that building write out their complaints, which they have trouble with being able to put their complaints in writing, which is important for documentation. So we're doing a tremendous amount of a collaboration in our efforts, and I think all working together we can keep more people in the developments and that's certainly a case at McCarthy Manor. We did lose one tenant who just couldn't take everything that happened to her, but we're really trying now that I've been asked to come back and help the Tenants Association to try to get things back into more appropriate shape. And we will have, because it seemed like a very short time, February 7th we received it. That might meet the legal requirements for announcing a public hearing, but it's really a short amount of time, so we expect that the Common Council, and in addition written comments from the many tenants associations and other organizations that we work closely with. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sharon. Is there anyone who would like to speak who didn't have an opportunity to fill out one of our cards? Okay, well, just in terms of next steps, as I mentioned, the public comment period, the 30-day period ends March 6th, but we've extended it as the Common Council hearing will be on Wednesday, March 13th. As I mentioned, anyone is welcome to provide written, email, or other narrative comments to our office. And then final allocations will be voted on by the Common Council and approved by the mayor, and letters will be sent out to all awardees with that final allocation amount. Last year, we weren't notified from HUD what our actual allocation was till a little later in the year, which is unfortunate, but we do expect the amount to be similar to where we're at this year. So as soon as we know, you'll know. But for right now, last year, I think it was around June 7th where we were notified, which is after the year starts. So I apologize for that, but we have not a lot of control over that process. And with that, for the good of the orders, any other comments that to be made? Yes, Liz?
You'd think an elderly person would remember everything, but I'd just like to let folks know we're in our 100th year of service in Syracuse at Dunbar. And if you check out localsyr.com, 15th Ward, Dunbar was an integral part of the 15th Ward in that production by Jennifer Sanders. And again, thank you very much. And I'll get younger tomorrow.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.